All right, let's dive into one of the most fundamental tools in all of medicine, the electrocardiogram. The ECG. It's basically the electrical signature of your heart, a total cornerstone of cardiology. So, together, we're going to figure out exactly what it is and, maybe more importantly, how it actually works. I mean, we've all seen it a million times on TV, right? That rhythmic green line pulsing across a screen, that steady beep. It's become this powerful symbol for life itself. But what is it really showing us? What story is that seemingly simple line telling doctors about the most important organ in our body? Because at its core, that's all an ECG is. It's a graph, a printout that lets us see the electrical symphony that's happening inside the heart with every single beat. It doesn't measure the blood pumping or the muscle squeezing directly. Nope. It measures the electricity that drives all of that action. Now, to read the music, you first have to understand the orchestra. And the heart, well, it isn't just a muscle. It's this incredible, self-contained electrical system. So let's take a look at what makes it so darn unique. This right here is what makes the heart its own boss. It has automatism, which means it generates its own electricity, no outside help needed. It has conduction, its own built-in wiring to spread that electrical spark. Excitability and contractility are the payoff. The muscle gets the signal and boom, it pumps. And finally, refractoriness. This is a crucial safety feature. It's a mandatory recharge period after each beat that prevents total electrical chaos. So how does that spark travel? Well, it follows this super specific path, almost like a planned lightning strike. It all starts in the sinus node, that's the heart's main natural pacemaker. From there, it zips over to the AV node, which acts kind of like a gatekeeper, holding the signal for just a fraction of a second. Then it shoots down the middle through the bundle of His and just explodes outwards through the Purkinje fibers, telling the big lower chambers to squeeze. And get this, it even has built-in backup systems. If the main pacemaker fails, the next one in line just takes over, just at a slightly slower pace. How cool is that? And this isn't some rare event. This entire perfectly coordinated electrical pathway fires about 100,000 times a day, every single day, for your whole life. It's just an absolutely incredible piece of natural engineering. Okay, so the heart is cranking out all this electricity deep inside our chest. So how in the world can we measure it just by putting some stickers on the skin? Well, turns out the answer comes down to some surprisingly simple physics. Every time a single heart cell activates, it creates this thing called a dipole. You can just think of it as a tiny little battery with a positive and a negative pole. Now, when millions of these cells do this all at once in a coordinated wave, they create a much larger detectable electric field that actually radiates all the way out to your skin. The ECG machine is basically just a very, very sensitive antenna that's designed to listen in on these fields. So here's the crucial part. The machine isn't just seeing on or off. It's way more sophisticated. It's a vector measurement. That means it's detecting the strength of the electrical signal and, just as important, the direction it's moving in. But of course, to figure out that direction, you need to look at it from multiple angles at the same time, which is exactly why there are so many wires. And that brings us to the practical part of the ECG, the famous 12 leads. People are always wondering why they need so many stickers placed all over their chest and limbs. It's because one single viewpoint, it just isn't enough to see the whole picture. And honestly, this is the perfect way to think about it. Imagine you're trying to film a big sports game with only one camera parked behind one of the goals. Sure, you'd get a great view of a penalty kick, but you would completely miss everything happening at midfield. The 12 leads of an ECG are like having 12 different cameras positioned all around the heart, and each one gives a unique angle on that electrical event. You put them all together, and you get a comprehensive 3D map. Now, these 12 cameras, they're organized into three main groups. First, you have the standard leads, which come from the arms and legs. They give you a big picture panoramic view. Then you've got the augmented leads. They take that same information and just enhance it, kind of clarifying what the standard leads are seeing. And finally, you have the thoracic leads. Those are the ones on the chest. Think of these like zoom lenses, giving you these highly specific close-up views of different parts of the heart muscle. So let's bring this all home. Let's see how this all builds to the ultimate goal, a diagnosis. Because, all this theory is fascinating, but it's not much use unless it helps doctors pinpoint exactly what's going wrong. This quote right here is key. Topical diagnostics. Okay, that's a fancy way of saying pinpointing the exact location. The chest leads, our zoom lenses, are absolutely crucial for figuring out precisely where a problem, like the damage from a heart attack, has actually happened. So let's use a real-world example. Say a doctor thinks a patient is having a heart attack that's affecting the front wall of their left ventricle. They know to look for very specific changes in the tracings from leads V3 and V4. Those cameras are pointed directly at the front of the heart, so a problem there is going to show up clear as day in those views, while the other leads might look totally normal. And the same concept applies all around the heart. Leads V1 and V2 are watching the wall between the ventricles. V5 and V6 are looking at the sidewall. Even the limb leads have their own specialties. Lead I is a great view of the powerful left ventricle, while lead 3 gives a better picture of the right. See? Each one has a very specific job. So if you take away one single thing, let it be this. That collection of squiggly lines isn't just one signal. It's 12 different viewpoints, all stitched together to create a detailed, dynamic map of the heart's electrical health. It allows doctors to see exactly how that symphony is playing out and where any of the wrong notes are coming from. It's really an amazing technology, turning an invisible force into completely visible, life-saving information. And it really makes you wonder, what other invisible biological signals, maybe in our brain or in ourselves, are we on the verge of being able to map out